Hey folks, how's it going? Seth here. Hope you're doing well. So I wanted to drop in here and make an updated video for the Text Marketing 101 for Land Investors series of videos that I did with Callan Faulkner. So the background was we originally recorded this in late 2022, and then about a year later in 2023, a lot of stuff started changing where AT&T started implementing these new regulations, and the launch control, the texting platform, started forcing an opt-out message in the first message that goes out to everybody. And a lot of people kind of freaked out because this was a big change to the way things were working. So I wanted to get on the line with Callan and get her input on this and figure out, okay, what exactly has changed? What exactly does this mean for us? What are we supposed to be doing differently? Does text marketing still work? If so, how well does it work? What should we expect? How do we navigate all these changes? So I got on a call with her, and to no surprise, it was very, very helpful. I got all kinds of great information from her, and I wanted to share that recorded conversation with you right here because I think you'll get a ton out of it. So stay tuned. I think you'll enjoy this. Callan, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Seth. We have gone through little bit of I've been calling it a kerfuffle because there was a lot of misinformation, a lot of fear, and I want to talk about where we're at. We've had a couple months. I think we kind of first started hearing some updates from the carriers in the October timeframe. It's now January, so we've let a couple months go by, kind of let the dust settle, and a couple updates that have come through. So first and foremost, I'll explain the why behind some of the changes that the carriers are making. So the primary culprit and the why behind what's happening is that there are scammers out there that are texting consumers saying things like, "Hey, Seth, are you still banking with Wells Fargo? Is the last four digits of your account 4498?" And people will be like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And then they continue on to get account information and obviously scam people. The carriers are obviously trying to prevent that from happening. So they are putting in some blockers, some algorithms to protect their consumers from scam. They're also trying to protect their consumers from wholesalers. Some people like us that people will say stop or I'm not interested, and they will not be removed from their list. And they will continue to get texted and called and messaged. And guess what? If someone on AT&T is continuing getting this spam from a company they're asking to be removed from the list, they might switch over to T-Mobile or they might go over to Verizon. So from a why perspective, the carriers obviously don't want their consumers, their clients to be upset, but they also make billions of dollars on B2C texting. So they've been trying to find a way to make it work for everybody. So my big PSA for everyone announcement, and I made it pretty clear in everything I talk about because I'm a big fan of texting. I think texting's still doing great for us. I love ringless voicemails. I'm now doing cold calling. Mail is great too. I think we need to be doing multiple touches, but it is so important if someone asks to be removed from your list, you need to mark them as DNC somewhere. If that's in your Pebble environment, if that's in Follow Up Boss, if that's in a Google Sheet, it doesn't matter. So that's my little spark of big information there. But let's talk a little bit about the template changes. So the main huge change is that it is becoming required no matter what platform you're using, if you're using Twilio or whatever, or just going straight to doing mass messages on your own, you have to give them an opt-out. So in launch control, it's now going to say stop to opt out. I have noticed a lower response rate, but I have not noticed a lower amount of leads that are coming into our system, maybe about 90% of what they used to be. But we're getting a lot of the tire kickers out by saying stop to opt out. So people will say stop. Okay, fine. And then the people that are actually still interested will come through. Second thing is we cannot use the first name in the first message. So that is a scam trigger. Remember the message I said before? Hey, Callan, do you still bank with Wells Fargo? That is triggering the carriers to feel like it's spammy, saying the first name. So now it's the same thing. Hey there, my name is blank with blank. We are investing in land in this blank area. We're really interested. Can't say interested. We would love to chat with you about yours. Are you open to a bid? Are you open to a number? Are you open to chatting about your property? And
Okay.
then we cannot use lots of numbers. So I never recommended putting the APN or the address in the first text, but a lot of house wholesalers do. So if you are a house wholesaler out there, do not put the address of their property in the first text. The carriers will scan that and they will mark that as spam.
Now, when you say lots of numbers, is there like, don't put 4 digits or more in there,
Yeah.
or 1 digit, or what does that mean exactly?
I would say more than 4 digits. Yeah. I mean, we still are putting the acreage. Like we've been looking at your 8-acre property in blank. Launch control, the texting, launch control is one of the reasons why we love them is they're very protective of the rules and the regulations. So they may come down on that. But for right now, I am putting the acreage in there. I'm not going after 1,000-acre properties, not opposed. But for the most part, it's less than 1 or 2 digits.
So I can't specifically call out those 100,000-acre properties anymore. The multitude of those out there.
I'm really interested in your big property. Yeah. You could say that.
With launch control, do they force this opt-out message? Like, is it just in there by default, or you just have to create your own version of this?
They're forcing it in, so you don't even have to do anything. Literally, you write your messages, and they just tail it on to the end for you.
And if you were to not use launch control and use something else and not put this in there, does that mean AT&T wouldn't deliver it, or like?
It's mostly AT&T's just not going to deliver it. The biggest thing is when you're doing texting, you have to be 10. It's called ATP 10 DLC. So application to person. So if you're using an application to text a person, you have to register your EIN number and it's tied to your account. So if you're really, you're not saying stop, you're sending thousands and thousands, 10, 20, 30,000 messages a month. Your people are getting upset. Yeah, you are putting yourself at risk from either a consumer complaint. AT&T, I don't know if they would do anything. They're probably just like, no, we're just not going to deliver these. It's not like AT&T is going to sue you. I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but I've never heard of that before.
Is that kind of effectively a shadow ban? Like they're not telling you they're not delivering it. They're just not going to deliver it.
I actually think launch control can see it on their side, the real delivery. And I think that's where they started to get really scared because they were just like, why are these not being delivered? I don't think we would be able to see it. I think launch control would more so be able to see it.
Okay. And in terms of that opt-out message, there's probably 1,000 different ways to tell a person they have the option to opt out. Launch control has their standard. These exact words is what that's going to look like. But I mean, I don't know.
We're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to get it to a place where there's a little bit more. Right now, they just are like, we don't have the technology right now or the UI to even give you the ability to edit that. We just need to protect ourselves and our business by just putting a standard on there. Mm-hmm. But there is conversation right now of, hey, can we, I got a text from, I don't know, some senator the other day and it said STOP, the number 2 opt out. And it was all condensed in one word. It wasn't as clear as reply stop to opt out.
I mean, you could even say that potentially in a more normal way that doesn't make you look like a solicitor. Like, would you mind hearing more about this, or should I not send you anything else?
If you're not interested, go ahead and reply stop, smiley face.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Totally. So you have to specifically call out the word stop or something.
Yeah, right? I think they're looking for stop in that first message, at least right now. Okay.
So in terms of the impact this has had on response rates, it sounds like you said response rates have gone down, but the actual leads has gone down about 10-ish%. Was that right?
Exactly. We were at kind of like that 20% response rate. Now we're at about a 12% response rate. So response rates are down, but lead conversion is not as down as I thought it was going to be, to be honest. And we've had about 2 full months of testing. I'd say November is when we really ramped. December is always weird with texting. We didn't text at all during Christmas. Mm-hmm. So still playing with it, but texting is absolutely still my first touch because now I'm weeding out all these people that are like, stop, never contact me. No, don't want that. Okay, great. Mm-hmm. Get you out right in the beginning. And then my ringless voicemails, my cold calls, my mail is now going to be all the more powerful.
And in that initial message, I think you might have said it earlier, but what are some examples of what do you say to have this opt-out message and yet not turn people off? And maybe there's just no way to get around it, but what are some examples of what you could say in that first contact?
Hey there, we're currently working in the blank area. We're planning to pick up a couple lots. Would you be open to a discussion for yours? Mary with Solterra. Yeah. Or let's see what this next one got a response. Hey there, we're scouting the area for vacant land. We got your information from the local office. Could we discuss a price? Would love to chat. You have 5 minutes today. Mary Soltera.
And one of my questions, I think you already answered it, was, is this still the first contact in your sequence? Looks like you do text and ringless voicemail and text, and direct mail is like way down the list. And it sounds like texting is still the first thing you do, right?
It's just so easy it's easy and fast to like get them out. It doesn't require a lot of time on the phone. Time on the phone is a time suck. Now I am working on an AI cold calling product that will help. But right now, if someone's on the phone, you know how the people are. They want to talk for 20 minutes about their son's graduation last week. So if I can avoid, I love getting them on the phone. Don't get me wrong, but I want to have them on the phone with the right people. And so if I can just get the text out, weed my list down by maybe 20%, now I'm just not wasting time as much with the tire kickers when I drop that voicemail and then when I do the phone call.
Now, I know really soon after this happened, like, I don't know, a week or so after the news broke about all these changes going on, I thought I heard you mention something about like providing some kind of value in your first message, like, hey, would you like us to provide an assessment of your, I don't know, something like that. Are you doing that? Or is that not part of what you're doing?
No, that was originally where Launch Control was kind of taking it. In our message and the way that I train and coach, we do not go for the kill on the first message. And there's a lot of wholesalers that do. And so I think that's the difference. I mean, yes, of course, if you want to lead with value and say like, well, we can do it a free assessment, but it's so arbitrary what value is to someone. It might be valuable to just get an offer on their property. That might be valuable. So I think before they were like, well, AT&T really wants us to lead with value and give value. And so there was kind of this conversation of, giving someone a guide or a PDF. And we did it for a minute and I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Just, if you don't want an offer, I just won't communicate with you. And if you do, then that will be valuable for you.
With these changes that have happened, does this change anything about what kind of people it still makes sense to contact? Like, is it still pretty much all the exact same people? Like, does your list change or anything like that?
Literally got off the phone with a developer yesterday in Ohio for a 50-lot subdivision, and it came from Launch Control. So it doesn't matter. Those folks were young too. They're in their 40s. They've got 3 kids, the sellers. And, the response was, sure, I'll chat with you. Can we talk? And then we've talked about this a lot, but we would have never closed that deal if we had not gotten on the phone and we have the people that can have that conversation with her, right? I mean, we knew exactly what to say. We answered her questions. We made her feel really comfortable. The text was the easiest part about the whole thing, just bubbled up the phone call.
So if somebody just wanted to do something else, not Launch Control, ignore these rules, forget this whole reply stop to opt out in the first thing, they could potentially do that. The risk is that either AT&T wouldn't deliver the message, or possibly the person could be mad, or you could sue over this or something, or
you could get sued if you text someone where you didn't give them an opt-out, you didn't give them the ability, they asked to be removed and you didn't. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely litigation.
You could only get sued if they actually found out who you were and your contact info and all this stuff.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Is there any other way they could figure that out, or no?
No. I mean, you have to give them your full name. I mean, if your phone number that you're texting from is registered to your name, which in Launch Control situation, it's not. And I know some other platforms too, your number is registered to the Launch Control or whatever platform you're using. So that's a layer of protection. I mean, I have sent a lot of texts. I have never had anyone. Now, Launch Control also runs their list through a provider to remove all the litigators and the DNCs. So that protects you as well. So just make sure if you're using your own platform or doing your own thing, just make sure you're removing anyone that has ever created TPCA litigation. And that's like your bare bones. And then ideally you're removing, I wouldn't do direct skip DNCs because they're so broad, but I don't know what kind of level of DNC Launch Control is removing, but at least the litigator folks, that's like a bare bones removal.
Sure. Just out of curiosity, if Launch Control ceased to exist tomorrow, is there like some other place you would go? Like, if I couldn't do Launch Control, I'd use this platform instead.
Okay, great question. If Launch Control died tomorrow, I would probably go over to Smarter Contact for texting. I did test it. It does the job, and it has some of the features Launch Control does. So if for some reason Launch Control is not working, I'd move over there.
And you're still using Fresh Sales to keep track of all this stuff?
Fresh Sales is kind of like our operations platform. Follow Up Boss is now our communications platform. I am obsessed We should do a whole thing on Follow Up Boss. I am obsessed with Follow Up Boss. I was using it before. The phone system is top of the line. We have all of our lists of who needs to be called every day. I can see how much call time we have. I hold our VAs. We have to be on the phone for at least an hour per person every day, bare minimum, hoping for 2 hours. So if you're doing this at a high level, get into a communications platform where you can track calls, dials, texts outside of launch control once you get the lead in.
So it sounds like Follow Up Boss, that's the real hub that keeps it all together. But fresh sales, like what is the role of that? Is that like...
Yep. In our business, we really need this communications hub where we're tracking and making phone calls. We're emailing someone, we're texting someone, we're keeping track of who has been reached out to and when should I reach out to them. That's this communications hub. So that was open phone for me. And then we were just we had so many leads that they were falling through the cracks in open phone. Like they would just go to the bottom of the inbox and I couldn't set reminders in there. And now I'm in launch control, in Follow Up Boss, and I can see all of the people who have not been talked to for more than 12 hours who are in the stage of qualify, which means I need to get them on the phone and we can just call through those people. Now, when we get a hot lead, we've built an offer, we're ready to send a proposal in PandaDoc. That's when it's going to now go into fresh sales and we're going to manage them in both places. It's like fresh sales is our operations. Hey, we need to reach out to this person at the county, the purchase agreement's been signed. There's 15 things that need to happen now with drone photos, blah, 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 blah. Kind of like the Trello aspect or managing the operations of the business. That's happening in fresh sales.
So fresh sales handles the lead full circle, whereas Follow Up Boss is more of the what's being communicated on that front end acquisition side.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Buyers are in there as well.
This is kind of a random question. I might just edit this out if you don't have any good ideas on this. Okay. Do you know of any creative ways to get prospects to text you first? Like this idea of putting a QR code on your direct mail campaign where they text you and then you can say whatever you want to them. I don't know. Have you ever played with that, or does that work?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I think getting a QR code onto a mailer now that post-COVID, folks that are in their 70s had to use a QR code to see the menu at restaurants. Like they now understand what that means. I think your mailer should definitely have a QR code. And I think it would be great if it takes you to a YouTube video where it's just iPhone selfie. Hey, this is me. I put my phone number down below. I'd love for you to text me and just let me know you got this. If you have any questions, or if you want to just book a call, like shoot me a text. My number's right below here, or my number is 763, blah, blah, blah. Just say it in the video. And just to encourage them, like, reach out to me, text me. I'd love to get our conversation going.
Cool.
And then, of course, in the mailer, always like the fastest way to reach me is to text me. It depends on your vibe on the mailer. I like a little bit more of a personal mailer. Like I sat down to write this to you. Like, hey, just text me and let's get a phone call booked.
So regarding the texting templates, so it sounds like really the only thing that's different here is just that initial message. Like everything else is still pretty much the same. As long as you've got that opt-out message and you're wording what you can in the optimal way, nothing else really changes about what happens after that. If they opt out, everything is the same. If they respond, everything is the same. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say as long as, the way I teach things, it's like I like to ask questions to them. I want them to respond with information. There could be people out here that's like, oh, I'll just get them to respond and then I'll just send them an offer and like just try to close them right via text. It's like that is not working and not even something AT&T would want you to do. So just tossing that out there, like make sure that you are being a kind person and you're not texting people that don't want to be on your list. You're not going for the kill. You're being more of a consultative sale, not too much, but asking them questions and getting answers and getting them on the phone.
And you explained that really well in the other videos we did about, how to have those conversations. And essentially like you want to get them on the phone. You're not trying to close on text. Like the goal is just to like open it up a little bit more.
The lead up completely.
Do you anticipate, this is an impossible question to answer, but do you anticipate any other changes happening to the texting landscape anytime soon? Or they probably will, but who knows what they'll be, right?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they will. Like I mentioned before, AT&T and these carriers make a lot of money from this type of texting. So I think they're going to create a way for it to work. I think they're going to be, as AI starts to improve, as their algorithms start to improve, they're going to be sticklers. I think they're going to be very, very strict. If you start to not listen, or they're having complaints against a number that's tied back to your EIN, I think they're going to be ruthless in terms of just getting people out and not giving any second chances. So I don't see that yet, but I'm guessing that is definitely what's coming.
And then with your services with REI Optimize, has that changed at all? You still have like a white glove service where you set up all of this stuff for people. If they're new to texting or ringless voicemail, you can show them how it works and implement it and make it happen for the most part. Is that still?
Exactly. I've got recorded curriculum for kind of my launch control program start to finish. And then I have a ringless voicemail program. Like I mentioned, I'm coming out with an AI cold calling program for both outbound cold calling and inbound answering. And then I have a community of land investors. So we meet every other Wednesday. I've got the Slack community, and then we do tech office hours. So support. I've got 2 full-time employees that jump on and, hey, my import failed, or I need to fix this zap. What do you think? It's very much an environment of everyone is helping each other. Hey, I figured this out, or hey, this template's really working. So we've really created a cool kind of a group think around lead gen. And then I'm also obsessed with just performance and optimization in general. So I'm also doing quite a bit of coaching on that piece.
Well, sounds like a huge value. So yeah, reioptimize.com for those who are interested in that. Anything else we should know, or does that kind of wrap it up?
No, stay up to date with me. I mean, the best way to get like through this entire thing, I mean, I was meeting twice a week with my community. Just here's the changes, here's the updates, here's what you need to do. So that's the best way. I mean, I am very, very close with launch control, very close with Sly Broadcast. I am really trying to be on the forefront of everything. So get in touch with me, and we'd love to work with you. Yeah.
If people want to check out the course that Callan and I put together, again, Text Marketing 101 for land investors. This is also part of the Land Elite Masterclass. If you're part of that, it's just part of the course. Thanks again, Callan. Totally appreciate your time and your expertise. I don't know anybody better on this subject, so we're all very lucky to have Callan here today. So thanks again, Callan.
Appreciate you, Seth.
And thanks everybody watching.
We'll talk soon.